Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Blue Table Talk podcast tonight. I'm your host, Deborah Jones, and we have a great guest here tonight, Raymond Ford Jr. Before we speak with him tonight, let's go ahead and give a little housekeeping. Now, you guys know that COVID is back out on the rise, and so we got to go back to wearing our masks and washing our hands and keeping our distance along with everything else that was added to the first time. But this time, the COVID is kind of sneaking on us because you don't even have any symptoms. You just go get yourself checked and come out positive. But let me read something to you that came from the Jefferson County Health Department, just in case you haven't seen this or heard about this. The new COVID health advisory. Everyone is advised to wear a mask because the new COVID Omicron HBB variant coronavirus is different, deadly, and not easily detected properly. Symptoms of the HBB viruses are no cough, 2, no fever. There will only be 3 joint pains, headache, neck pain, upper back pain, pneumonia, general loss of appetite. XBB is 5 times more toxic than the Delta variant and has a higher mortality rate. It takes a shorter time for the condition to reach extreme severities, and sometimes there are no obvious symptoms. This strand of virus is not found in the nasal region, and it directly affects the lungs, the windows, for a relatively short period of time. Nasal swab tests are generally negative for COVID Omicron XBB, and false negative cases of nasal tests are increasing. This means that the virus can spread in the community and directly infect lungs, leading to viral pneumonia, which in turn causes acute respiratory stress. XBB has become highly contagious, highly virulent, and lethal. Avoid crowded places. Keep a distance of 1.5 meter, even in open spaces. Wear a double layer mask. Wear a suitable mask. Wash hands frequently, even when everyone is asymptomatic, whatever it is. No coughing, no sneezing. Don't keep this information to yourself. Share as much as possible with the relatives and friends, especially yours. Okay, so let's watch our surroundings and think about sharing that, knowing that there is the coronavirus out again, which it never really left. It's just kind of mild down and trigger down. So keep yourself, wear your mask, and especially when we go to like funerals and stuff like that. But a lot of times they tell you if you come into the sanctuary, wear your mask. Or if you come into church, period, just wear your mask. But just take care of yourself. And like a friend of mine was telling me she had it, and she and her husband had it. So, but they didn't even know, they didn't even have headaches or fever or anything, but they had it for about 7 days or whatever. And then they got over it. So that's our housekeeping tonight. So we're going to go ahead and talk to our guest tonight. We're talking to Raymond Ford Jr. Fish. He's a swimming expert. So hi, Raymond. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, and you? I'm doing fine. Glad to be here. Glad to be on with you.
Thanks for accepting the invitation to Blue Table Talk.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So Raymond, let's get into our program tonight. So what? Give us a little introduction about yourself.
Um, 46-year-old from Beaumont, Texas. I came out of Central High School in 1995. Married, 7 kids. I love the water. That's how I got into this. Is basically because I want everybody to enjoy the water as much as I do, but safely, you know. And I know that's one of the biggest things in the black community is that a lot of us don't know how to swim, and it's kind of why I got started in this.
Well, why swimming? Why did you become an instructor?
Well, it all started 9 years ago when we was looking for a house because we had at that time it was me and my wife 6 kids, so we needed a big house. and I had no plans of becoming teaching swimming lessons back then. But we found a house that would fit up, us and the kids adequately, and it just so happened to have a pool. I wasn't looking for a house with a pool. I really didn't want a house with a pool, but this one just so happened to have a pool. And so first 4 years, we enjoyed the pool and stuff, and had little parties and this and that. And I taught my own kids how to swim over the years. But I had a friend reach out to me on Facebook during that time and asked me, um, would I mind teaching their child how to swim? And that's kind of how it started. I got with a guy named D'Angelo Thibodeau, and just kind of went over a few little pointers. And from that point on, we stepped out on the faith. I think that was 2019 was the first year I started doing kids, and it just took off bigger than what I would have initially thought. I didn't have no plans to get to the point where I am now, but it is what it is. So now I enjoy doing it.
So you instruct kids as well as adults.
Yes, like I said, I started in 2019. It was just kids that first year, uh, and going into 2020, I had a few adults reach out because the adults sit poolside. I invite and encourage the parents to stay poolside. I'm not one of those places that say your parents can't stay. There are some places like that, but I'm not one of those. I encourage the parents, and then just by them sitting poolside, I learned that a lot of them themselves didn't know how to swim.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I kind of opened it up to adults. Um, but yeah, you mentioned about COVID. You opened up about that, and that actually played a role in my swimming lessons as well. Because, like I said, 2019 was the first summer I started, and it started small, just like any other business, any other venture. Started small. I think I had to start to July, and so going into 2019 to 2020, that's when COVID first was really hitting the scene.
Absolutely.
And so I didn't even know if I was going to continue swimming lessons going into the summer because of COVID. But April 15th, me and my wife watched the 10 o'clock news every night before we go to bed. April 15th, right there in Beaumont at the event center on MLK, there's a park behind it with a pond.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my wife watching the news, and the opening story was about a drowning. And what took place was, at this point, I was, like I said, I was not sure I was going to do it, COVID and everything else. Um, but the opening story was a 3-year-old boy who fell in playing with the ducks, feeding the ducks. The mom tried to go get him. She couldn't swim. Some bystanders in the park, they was able to help. Along with EMS, they was able to find her, resuscitate her. But by the time they found the 3-year-old boy, uh, they never, he never regained a pulse, never regained consciousness.
Wow.
And I told my wife that night, I said, I had a lot of doubt in what I was doing and everything. Was I going to be a positive influence or a positive effect on our community? But I say that was my sign from God that I need to put my fears aside and do this, devote my summers to it. And that's what I've done since then. Pretty much from May to school starts, I'm doing kids, and then from May all the way till really the end of September, like this year, I'm open for adults. So, like I said, that was my confirmation that even despite COVID, despite my own doubts about doing it, I've just been, when I seen that, and I just want to do my part in trying to prevent any more drownings in our area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like the basis on how we got started and why. And
Okay, so what would you do if you had a student who was afraid of water, whether it was an adult or a child? What do you do in that instance? I'm
well,
because I'm tell you now, I ain't swimming. Go ahead.
Miss Jones, that's the thing. Old thing about this, I thought our agreement was that if I came on here, you're gonna come take swimming lessons.
And
I
man,
could have swore, I could have swore I read that somewhere.
I was talking to another Miss Jones.
Look, one thing I think, because, like I said, I have 7 kids. and I know where I came from when it comes to swimming. Uh, I have patience. People, the one thing the parents will tell me all the time is, "Man, you have patience. I don't know how you do it with all those kids." Uh, I know where I was. I'm 46 now. Like I said, when I was 7, I took my first swimming lesson class. I can't demonstrate what I was doing for you sitting right here, but I was walking around with my feet were touching the bottom, and I was using my arms like I was swimming, telling the swim instructor, "Look, I already know how to swim. I don't need to take swimming lessons."
Hmm.
Well, I guess that probably irked the nerve of hers because I know how she feels when somebody thinks they know how to swim and they really don't. So then she told me, "Okay, well, if you know how to swim, let's go to the deep end." Well, I didn't want no parts of that. I remember running around the pool, screaming, hollering. I was holding on to a table that they had on the side of the pool. My mom, my aunt Betty was there. They were trying to trap me to throw me in the pool because I didn't want no parts of it. So I remember where I came from when I first started taking swimming lessons. And so when I'm dealing with kids and I understand they have fears of the water, like I said, I know where I came from and I'm patient with them. When I do the children, when I do the adults, I'm by myself. When
Right.
I do the kids, I have a young lady who's senior over here at Westbrook, Madison Jones. My 21-year-old son, who's also the pool manager at Magnolia. He's in the water with me, and then I have my 11-year-old son. So it's normally like 4 of us in the pool. We're doing lessons. So if we have 1 or 2 kids that just have a real high fear, either I'll work with them or the young lady Madison, she'll work with them and work them through that. And we generally do the kids, for instance, 2 weeks, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for 2 weeks. So it's a slow process sometimes with some of them. Some of them pick it up real fast, but you just have to be patient with them. I tell parents all the time, kids learn at different paces, just like any other recreational activity or school activity. And it comes the same thing with the adults. You know, the adults, I tell you all the time, I don't want an adult to come to me until they're ready to take this on because just like you said, Ms. Jones, if you're not ready to get in the pool and take this hurdle on, this obstacle on, then we're not going to accomplish anything. But even if you're scared and you have, some water, some past water trauma or whatever, then hey, but you show up, then I know that, okay, she or he is here to work. And take it step by step. We start from the very beginning, the basics simply is basically just holding your breath. Showing people the proper way to hold your breath, hold your lips. One thing leads to the next. And that's how I do it. And every now and then you get somebody that just simply because they've had a lot of some bad water trauma, they
Hmm.
can't do it. But I continue to work with them and eventually get them through that.
Okay, let me switch over and speak to my listening audience right now. Thank you guys for joining us tonight on Blue Table Talk. As you may see, we have Raymond Ford Jr. on tonight. So if you're not on the comment side of the page, come over on the comment side and tell Raymond hello, and so that you can support him. And if you have any questions, he'd be more than happy to answer. I have Kayla Mars on here right now. She says, Mr. Ford did a great job with my son. He's very patient, but don't come to class late. So what happens when you come to class late?
Um, I don't know. I don't remember what happened, but I mean, I have a tight schedule because what happens is at 5:30,
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
at 5:30, my classes are 50-minute sessions for the kids. So
Mm-hmm.
now I work a full-time day job from 6 to 4. So by the time I get home, it's probably 4:30, 4:45. So I probably have 45 minutes or so before I'm getting in the pool myself. But from 5:30 to 6:20, that's my younger kids from age 3 to 7. I try to have those in the first group. That way they're not out too late. Plus I have them all grouped together. They get home at a decent time, get in bed at a decent time. Well, my 6:30, then I have a 6:30 to 7:20, and then a 7:30 to 8:20.
Mm-hmm.
Those are generally like ages 8 and up. They might have some of them are beginners, some of them might have a little more experience, and that's where by having other people in the pool with me, other Madison and Quentin and my son Carson, we're able to kind of break up based upon ability. But I am tight on time. It's 50-minute sessions, because then I got to start the next session on time. So I don't remember if something happened or maybe she could elaborate. But yeah, we I do have to be. I mean, I never wasn't in the military, but my dad and stepdad are both Army, so being punctual on time, starting on time, ending on time, those kind of things have been instilled in me. And but yeah, but maybe she can elaborate. I don't remember if something actually happened, but yes, I do believe in starting on time. And I know things as far as parents. Hey, if traffic, it's real life. Stuff happens, and I just tell them, hey, get here when you can,
Right.
So
You fit in. So the youngest you take is 3.
yes, ma'am. When I first started back in 2019, I was starting at 5, and then I think the next year I bumped it down to 4, and 2 or 3 years ago I bumped it down to 3. So I don't think I'm going to go any lower than that right now because as is, I mean, I'm booked up even before the summer starts. So I don't think I'm going to start any younger than that. And I like to make sure they're potty trained and everything, that kind of stuff. So
You don't want none of that in your water.
no, because if that stuff happens, then you have to shut down the pool and any class behind that class have to be canceled and
I
stuff
absolutely,
like that.
absolutely. Okay, so Karen says she loves to swim, and she said you should try Deborah. Not, and that's a negative. Uh,
Yes, Miss Can, I totally agree with you. I told her I thought our agreement was if I did this podcast with her, she
mhm,
had at least come try it.
that's a
She had
negative.
at least come try it.
I pass by the house, walk around, see if y'all got the people around there, but that's about it. Yolanda says I conquered one on her bucket list items is learn how to swim, and
Yes,
she's an adult, so
me and Miss Yolanda, we've had quite a few conversations. She's a big supporter of mine. She knows that I'm working on a swim team. We kind of chatted about that. Yes, I thank you, Miss Yolanda, and I'm glad she enjoys the water. She conquered that fear as well.
so how do you track your students' progress?
Well, like I say, by having 3 to 4 of us in the pool at one time,
Mhm.
the first day of class, if it's a new student, the 3 to 7 year olds that be at the 5:30 group, we'll just see what they know if they're new. Some of them may have taken swimming lessons somewhere else. Some of them, and you just go from there. And you kind of divide them up based on that, and that's what with the system that over 5 years, you kind of learn over time how to do things and what works and doesn't work. And I'm not saying my system is perfect or anything like that. I'm never going to be a person that thinks that I don't have something to learn when it comes to swimming because I'm always learning. I'm always doing research, whether it's YouTube, talking, getting insight from other people that may have been doing this longer than me.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, I have I feel a pretty good system as far as teaching the kids.
So the children versus the adult. Which one is the hardest? The children or the adult? Or it
If,
varies.
if I must speak freely,
Speak freely. Speak it.
the children are more work. I'll say that. The adults,
That's why
I actually
I have peace, and that probably the most work. Go ahead.
no. Let me tell you this. I actually enjoy. I'll be honest. I actually enjoy doing the adults more, simply because that's just like you. If you gave me the opportunity, just 2 to 3 hours in one day, and
Hmm.
the way that I understand how much you fear water, you fear swimming, but you take it, you step out on faith, and you trust me, and you give me that opportunity to see you accomplish, what you've accomplished at the end of our time that day. To me, it's so rewarding because I know where you were.
Hmm.
I've had a lady that said she had to be resuscitated. I don't think this wasn't this year's group, it was last year, I want to say. I don't know why back in the day they thought throwing people in the pool or in water was the way to get over the fear of water. And that's like the most absurd thing. So, kids, I already come in knowing that they don't know how to swim and this and that. But as far as adults, knowing what some of them are overcoming and the trauma, uh, to me, I really enjoy doing the adults. Nothing against kids, but I enjoy doing the adults. That's why I'm gonna get you in there, Miss Jones. We're gonna work on that.
Never. Not happening, boo. But we live in Beaumont, Texas, and you know that we have a lot of hurricanes.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
it's very important that we should at least know how to do something as far as swimming, because we never know what situation we're in.
Right.
But I do not live around you, so I'm be hollering, come get me, so you can help me swim through that hurricane water. So is this another reason why you teaching swimming lessons, because of the hurricanes and stuff like that we have in Beaumont?
Well, for one, if the local authorities ask for us to evacuate, I hope people take those serious enough. I mean, I understand what it feels like when you evacuate and that thing turns to the last minute, and then it only hit our area, and you feel like you wasted time, money, and everything else. So then the next time we don't evacuate, we know that's happened, you know. But hopefully people take those serious. But there's a bunch of different reasons. Like I said, yes, that's one because I know I can't remember which one it was, Imelda or Harvey, but I know my friends in Port Arthur got it real bad. There was different spots kind of out near Beverly Oaks and the north end. There's various spots where people got straight water was in their houses, you know, and just I can't even imagine not knowing how to swim and just being waist high in water. You know, water that you can't even see in because it's dirty, it's filthy, it's nasty. It's probably moving. You got stuff like snakes that's gonna be looking for dry, higher ground, so you never know what you're gonna see in it. Um, but you know that was kind of part of the reason. But we're surrounded by water. Was not necessarily hurricane and storms, but just the fact that just on a normal day there's so much water around us is one of the reasons why I kind of started this.
How many lessons do you have to complete your course?
Well, kids starting with kids. I tell parents a child needs to get swimming lessons every year until like you feel like that you can walk in a house and don't have to watch your child while they're in the pool,
Hmm.
or you trust that if your child's going with a neighbor to a pool or somewhere, that your child's gonna be okay. You know, so it's not a one time, it's not a 1 year thing for children. I've had some that pick some, maybe preteens and teenagers that pick it up real fast. But even them, uh, accidents happen real quick. Uh, as far as the adults go, um, it's just I tell people I feel like I can teach an adult how to swim, and I get the question a lot of times. You can teach me how to swim in 1 day. I say, yeah, in 2 to 3 hours, I can show you how to float on your back.
Hmm.
Because Miss Jones doesn't believe it, but your body doesn't want to sink, Miss Jones. And I'm going to get a chance to show you that one day. Float on her back and try to teach you how to freestyle swim. That's my day one,
Hmm.
what I like to accomplish with my adults. And then you come back for a second day, and that's when I'll try to teach you how to breathe while doing the freestyle swim. Also, how to tread water, diving. We have some that want to cliff jump, cliff dive because they, go to Jamaica and stuff like that on excursions.
Right.
Uh, I teach them how to tread, and if you're in a tread, then you can kind of roll over and go and float on your back, or treading and go into your freestyle swim. It's stuff like that is what I do. So it's not adults is it varies, but most people 2 days to learn all that. Kids, it just kind of depends on age and ability. Some of them learn quicker than others. Like I said earlier, it just depends on that particular child.
Okay, so I know that parents come along with their children. So how do you navigate if a parent got angry while you're teaching that your not so much angry with you, angry with their child that they're not doing what you're saying they're supposed to do, and they start fussing and everything. So have you ever been in that position?
I think I've had a moms generally kind of stay back and watch, but I think I've had one dad I had to kind of pull to the side over the years and say, hey, you know, I'm going to teach the class. I don't need you coaching him from the sideline.
Hmm.
If that's the case, then you can take him and coach him somewhere else. But he's not going to be getting directions from me and you while in the water with us. I mean, you paying us to teach him. So generally, that handled that one situation. Um, I had the only other situation I had this year is I had a kid was trying to teach the older kids, 8 years and up. On the last week, everybody does treading water because I feel like it's a life saving skill and anything can happen and they can fall in. Well, I had one parent because she was so horrified by the water. That's the only thing I can point it at. She did not want her child to go in the deep end to learn treading water. So other than that, I hadn't had any, no parents stepping in or overstepping their boundaries like that. And even in that situation, that was fine. She didn't want her child on the deep end to learn treading water. At that time, I say, well, hey, all my staff, me and my staff was in deep water. He can't be in the shallow end by himself. So he was done for the day.
Right.
There's nothing else for us to do for him today. But I generally don't run into that. Most of the time, and that's why I encourage the parents to stay poolside. I let them know that, hey, if you need to run an errand, you need to go pick up groceries right quick for this 50 minutes, fine. Just be back in time to get them. But they don't have to. I mean, but they're more welcome to stay poolside. I have like 10, 12 chairs lined up poolside.
Mhm.
Most do stay uh, so that they can watch, because accidents do happen, can happen real quick. And so, it doesn't hurt to have an extra set of eyes watching the water.
Right, right, right. So, have you ever experienced working with children with Down syndrome, special needs?
I don't want to sound ignorant in this. I don't know, I know Down syndrome and autism.
Hmm.
I won't say Down syndrome, but I know I have had a couple of parents contact me about the autism. Um, I've had a few. Um, I can remember one didn't take well at all to it. He did a lot of screaming, and crying. I've had some. I don't know if there's different severity levels of it. Like I said, I don't want to sound ignorant because I don't know. But I've had some that get in and actually respond well to it.
Hmm.
Just like any other child, some respond better to it than others. But like I said, I don't have. I'm not gonna sit and lie. I don't have a bunch of experience dealing with that. But I'll try to work with anybody. But the thing with that is, I have parents that come to me and ask me. They're upfront. They say, "Hey, my child has this or that," but I don't have the time to work with a kid one on one. You know, like someone requests because, like I said, I am a full time employee, father of 7 kids, myself, wife. Uh, I'm trying to cram swimming lessons in Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday,
Right.
and doing adults Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So there's just not enough hours in the day. Now, if I worked, the school district and I was off during the summer or something like that, then I probably have days, time available during the day to do that. But I really don't have time to do one on one. I invite them. Hey, if you feel your child can do it in a group setting, because my group settings for the 3 to 7 year olds is normally six, no more than 7 kids,
Yeah.
and then for the later classes, the 8 and up, I have no more than 9 kids in a group. So um, you know, and I just ask parents to be honest with me, honest with themselves. If you feel like your child can handle the group setting, by all means, So, but I'll never turn a kid away because anybody can drown.
Right.
So, and that's what I don't want. I don't want anybody to
Have
drown.
all those others out there. So, excuse me. That's why you have all those other people working with you. Excuse me. When you
Right.
children.
Exactly.
So your setting for the children, excuse me, is 6 up to 9 students. What about adults? How many do you have in the class?
Uh, Adults, I try not to do no more than four women, or 4 men. I don't mix men and women
Mm.
unless it's a husband and a wife. Or I just this past Saturday I had two cousins, a male and a female. They knew each other, so they signed up together. But other than that, I don't mix. Um, and generally, four is what I try to cap it at. Occasionally there'll be five, but hold on a second. I try to cap it at 4 to 5. Um, yeah, that's the number I try to cap. I try to keep it between 2 to 4. What I found out is that when I first started doing adults, it was kind of one-on-one thing, and then two. But what I found out with adults, I could have 4 women I could have four women, and they don't even have to know each other at the beginning of the class. But by the end of the class, they're encouraging each other, they're learning from each other, they're overcoming some of the same fears, different water trauma, different water stories, and it works really well. It works. My little small groups work better than a one-on-one with adults. That's one thing I found out with adults. It works tremendously well, and I've had them where they exchange numbers or this and that, and they become friends, and or when we gonna come back, they'll schedule the lessons again, and they didn't even know each other prior to this, but you know,
So
um,
do they have 3 or 4 lessons as well? It depends on the person itself.
what was your question?
Do the adults do they have 3 or 4 lessons as well as the children, or do it depends on you know what they're learning?
Well, the
Okay,
the the cost of my adult sessions is 125, and what that is,
one
that
five a
is
lesson or 125 for
125 a lesson. But that lesson, okay, let me back up.
oh
When I
you
first start,
only get 1 lesson. Go ahead.
okay, when I first started this, like I say, when I first started, and that's why I've tweaked my program over the years. When I first started, I would do the adults just like I did the kids, 50-minute sessions a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have you come at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and you'd be done at 9:50. Well, there's only so much I could teach you in that 50 minutes.
Right.
And what I've learned, because 95% of my adult clientele is women, mainly black women. What I've learned is through my wife and her her ideas and points is black women in their hair. So she told me, she said, how about instead of breaking them up Saturday here, Saturday here, Saturday here, you condense it all in one day.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a hair appointment at just say 3 o'clock, well, I can come to your swimming lessons for that whole day from 9 to 11:30, 12 o'clock. I've got it all done in one day, and now I can go to my hair appointment later on and
Mm-hmm.
don't have to worry about it. And so it's worked out tremendously that way. We do a lot more learning in that time frame because we're doing it all in one day. But yes, it's 125. You'll either come at 9 a.m. to like 11:30 a.m. or 2 p.m. to about 4:30, 5 o'clock p.m. But like I say, so it's just instead of splitting it up 3 days, we're doing it all in one day. Plus with adults, you have other activities going on during the summer, family reunions, class reunions, all this other kind of stuff. And so scheduling became a conflict. So I found out, that's why I tell people, I said, if you can give me one day, just one day, Miss Jones, one day, then we'll start from scratch and see how far we get.
Okay, let me transfer back over to my listening audience because I see some writing on the wall and I need to see what they're talking about because I haven't been watching.
All
Um,
right.
thank you guys for throwing out the questions. Thanks, Caleb, Karen, Yolanda, Melvinies. Hi guys. Stacy, hey Stacy, Terry. So Yolanda says, I can't wait for that swim team. So you look like Yolanda is coming. Karen says, yes, give it a try. I've seen people afraid and learn and love it. Stacy said, do it, Deborah. Not Stacy. I love you, but I'm not. Terry says, I really need to learn. That's Terry Preston. Roy.
Pause right there on Terry Preston. Terry Post Ben came to me, so I'm glad he's on there. But yeah, he's supposed to come. He supposed to be coming to me. We're gonna get that worked out, right, Terry? Yeah, we're gonna get it worked out.
He got you now. He got you now. Stacy said, what a great podcast. Deborah learns to swim. Not Stacy. I'm not going.
And
Anyway,
then we can record yours live, Deborah, and I mean Miss Jones, and you can show it back to everybody.
oh yeah, that's what you do. Let me tell you, when I took the swimming lessons at Lamar, when I was saying about that earlier, they had me on television. And so they were asking me because I was an adult and they was asking me about swimming. And I was like, oh, I love it. I love it. But when that TV turned, when that news turned off, man, I almost drowned a teacher. So I never been back. That's how I am. I'm sorry.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. You're right. It's never too late. Get me before it is too late. Okay, so if a
I,
student does, well, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna tell you, I have a lady that's 70 years old. She comes to me every Friday morning. When she first started coming this summer, she didn't know anything about swimming. She was scared to get in the water. But now she comes every Friday morning and swimming back and forth in my shallow end, and she's getting better and better every time she comes. She's not even my oldest. The oldest I've had this year was 73. So
Oh
I
yeah,
just say all that to say it's never too late.
it's never too late. Okay, and she was 70.
The lady that comes every Friday is 73.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, every Friday is 70.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Good. Great job, 70-year-old. Anyway, if a student doesn't respect your authority, ask their instructor, how do you navigate this?
Well, on the first day of class, I go over, I think I have 9 different rules I kind of go over. One of them is about water safety, children listening because the pool, my swimming lessons aren't so structured. It's not like military. I do give them a few minutes here and there to kind of splash around and play, but there is, instruction time. They do need to be listening. And if they don't want to listen or they horse playing to the point where they're about to hurt somebody else, something like that, I do have a little timeout section where I sit them down for a few minutes. Uh, I've never had to, I don't think, recall just sending somebody home for the day, but I have had to send, a few over time, but it's not that often because a lot of times the kids are just excited to be in the water. But most of the time, most of the kids, they listen and follow instructions. Um, Always they listen to me from my 11-year-old, the 18-year-old, my 21-year-old, as well as myself most of the time.
Mhm. Well, good, good. But their parents are there, so that will help you control them as well, right?
Yeah, sometimes mom or dad will say something to them if they are kind of getting a little on the edge or whatever. Yeah, that's why everybody knows their children. That's why I encourage parents to know to stay poolside. They know their kids better than I know them.
Right.
You know, but yeah, so it helps.
Have you ever dismissed a person, a student, a child, as well as a parent? Have you ever dismissed them and said
No,
no,
man.
and say, okay, it's over, don't come back anymore?
No, I hadn't run into that issue. Like I said, I think part of that is that me dealing with I have 7 kids of my own, and when we have a blended family. When me and my wife first got together, uh, we tried to put everybody in the same bucket when we were younger, and we realized over the years that each one of these are individuals. They're different,
Right.
and so dealing with different personalities, I think that helps me when it comes to the kids in the pool. I realize each one of these kids have their own little personality. They're raised different. They're different households. So I think that helps me a long way when it comes to dealing with the kids.
Say that you are at someone else's house or whatever, and that you guys are having a pool party or whatever, and so you see a child in the water without without an adult around. Do you consider that as an emergency, or would you jump in and try to save that child, or what?
If the child is swimming, I mean, if they know how to swim, they're swimming. But if it's an emergency situation, if they're underwater struggling, of course I'm gonna jump in without hesitation to save them, to do my part. But I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't have to be a pool. It can be one of these ponds and stuff like that. That's why I tell people all the time, drowning isn't like you see in the movies where you see a whole bunch of splashing and a whole bunch of hollering and stuff like that. Because you hear about stories on the news where somebody's having a pool party, and the next thing you know, EMS is being called because there was a child at the bottom of the pool and nobody didn't even know. Drowning isn't like you see in the movies, like I said. It's really silent because they'll splash around for a few seconds, but the first time they go under, more than likely they're swallowing water. So when they come up, there's not going to be no sound because if they come back up, they're trying to spit the water out their lungs.
Right.
So you're not going to hear no help or nothing like that. So that's why I say it's silent. And then they go back under, and it take less than 30 seconds,
Hmm.
because our water isn't meant to be in our lungs like that.
Right.
And so that's why I tell people, I tell the parents, I said, kids can sometimes have a false sense of swimming, knowing that they know how to swim, and I tell them accidents happen real quick. So, pay attention to your kids. It doesn't take long, especially like I said, the big pool parties. Matter of fact, I had a client. son came to my swimming class this summer. Well, they hired my son, the one that's a lifeguard. They hired him for their backyard pool party just this past Sunday. So you know that's always an option. If you're gonna have a pool party, even if it's at your house, hire somebody, hire one of these, you know, a teenager that has experience doing this. That way you can kind of be your host and entertain your party. You got, you know, take care of the food and all that kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
you'll actually have a actual lifeguard, one or two sitting poolside that can monitor the kids and the horseplay and all that kind of stuff. That would be my best advice to
Right,
anybody that's
right.
having a birthday party.
Have you ever been a lifeguard?
No, ma'am. I wasn't a lifeguard. Um, No, ma'am. My son got into it. I encouraged him to do it through D'Angelo Thibodeau, and he's loved it. It's been his little summer thing to the point it allows, you know, it's his summer job, and I encourage a lot of the youth that are, because you can start working with the city at 15. You can become a lifeguard at 15, and they make $12 an hour. So that's pretty good money. You know, you're still in high school, $12 an hour. Well, McDonald's and all these other places not gonna pay you $12 an hour,
Right.
you know, and they work 12 to 6 during the summer, so you're getting good hours. You know, I encourage a lot of kids to give it a try. But no, ma'am, I wasn't a lifeguard.
Deborah Bennett, Deborah Chapman, I'm sorry, Deborah Chapman says, can you give the cost of kids again in sessions, please?
Okay, the way I generally do my kids program, and like I say, my price is pretty comparable to all the prices that you'll find around Lamar, BISD, and other private people that have lessons at their homes. But my price this summer was $100. And what that was your child will come for 2 weeks, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for 2 weeks, unless a holiday fell on one of those days. The general is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday
Mhm.
for 2 weeks, 50 minutes a day. So it'll be 6 days. We didn't have any rain harder this year, so I didn't have to make up any days. But
Right,
that's why I would try. That's one reason why I would try to leave Wednesdays open and Fridays open in case it was one of those summers where we got a lot of rain and we had to reschedule because my pool is outside, of course, in the backyard. So, but yeah, the kids are $100 per 2 weeks is what it is.
Terry Ross says, have you ever had a person who couldn't be taught? I'm sorry, Terry, who couldn't be taught?
I think Terry's asking that question because he thinks he can't be taught. So I'm waiting on Terry to come. All he got to do is tell me today, and me and Terry gonna learn how to swim, and he's gonna do like everybody else is doing, post those videos of himself swimming. Um, to be honest, the adults, uh, I've had one summer. One of the things I tell anybody, and I tell them when I message them or I talk to them as soon as they get in the pool, if you can't put your face, if I can't get you to hold your breath and put your face in the water, then I can't teach you how to swim. Okay. So I've had one lady this summer, and I've been trying to encourage her to come back. I could not for 2.5 hours. I could not get her to put her face in the water. She just had some past water trauma. She would get up to her mouth and nose, and she just couldn't go all the way under. And so she did pay me that. She had already paid me in advance. So what I told her, my money back guarantee is that she comes back, regardless how many times she comes back until I teach her how to swim. She doesn't owe me anything because I hadn't had the opportunity to teach her yet because she hadn't got her face in the water. So, um, but yes, that's if a person can put their face in the water, I can teach them how to swim. And just for the women that are on here, women swim. Well, women outfloat me in any day of the week. It's just natural body parts. They help y'all float. Bone density. It makes it harder on us men. We have to work a little bit more. I tell the clients in my class all the time that if a husband and a wife got stranded out in the ocean, something happened, God forbid, the woman will actually float easier than the man. What it is a lot of times though is the woman has to overcome the mental side, the panic side, the side we're gonna die, we're gonna drown. Whereas the man a lot of times be okay, look, we're gonna be fine, we're gonna make it through this. He's gonna have to exert more energy to stay afloat, to swim and all that kind of stuff than the woman will. A lot of times she just has to overcome the mental side. But as far as like I said, I've only one this year that I didn't get to that point of even swimming. I think there might have been one last year, but for the most part, if you put your face in the water, that's the hardest part. If I get you to put your face in the water, then we're gonna swim.
To be honest with you, that's my biggest fear is to put my face in that water. And because even when I get a massage, the little the pillow thing that you put your face in, I can't put my face in that. It's just a fear I
You
have.
feel like you're suffocating.
Yeah. And so they just tell me to put my head to the side. So to put my face in that water, you're gonna have to give me a cut on my price. I just have that fear.
We're gonna get you through that, Miss Deborah. You and Mr. Preston
Terry probably could swim, but
and Miss Ozanne, huh?
Raymond, you know I have a fear. I've been talking to you. I'm having a panic attack now thinking about it.
It's really, most people that come, they say, man, I waited 40, 50, 60 years to do this. I should have been did this. And I'll say that it's, it's like I said, I've developed a little system through trial and error over the years. I won't say I know everything about swimming and know everything, but I do have a good system, I feel. Um, and I've learned what works and what doesn't work. I feel like because I'm older that I can't relate. Okay, honey. I feel like I can't relate. I understand the traumas that the black culture has faced. Um, and not just black culture, but a lot of it is the black culture has faced when water and pools wasn't available to us, or because something traumatic happened to somebody in our family. The parents kept the rest of the family away from water and just told them that water was a bad thing. Um, but I feel like I feel like if a person, like I said, if a person put their face in the water, and I've even told some people, hey, if you know you have a problem with that, if you take a shower, let the water get used to holding your breath, letting the water run down your face. If you're in the bathroom, try to turn over and put your water in the face. Little things like that to try to get used to it. It still doesn't totally simulate, but those things, the shower actually works wonders. Just holding your breath and letting the water run down your face, as far as learning to hold your breath and knowing that you'll be okay holding your breath and not breathing in water. You're not gonna suffocate like that.
Well, I have a question. First of all, I apologize for being tardy. I
You're
totally
fine. You're
forgot.
fine.
ready for the party.
I'm sorry, Mom. But okay, for myself, I saw someone that drowned, so that kind of really did it. And
Mm.
then on top of that, my dad had me in swimming lessons. I couldn't hold my breath for a long time. And then he put me in swimming lessons, and a man threw me in the pool at the YMCA and almost drowned. And I'm on top of him, and he almost drowned. So, have you ever dealt with someone who has experienced stuff like that?
You know, I've had some people. I've had a lady told me that her brother drowned.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't take the class, and I hadn't been able to get her to take the class. Going to what you said about somebody throwing you in, I don't know where that habit or where that was learned to get people over their fear of water to throw them in. That is one of the worst things you can do to somebody is throw them in the water, because that's all it is traumatizing. Because I've even, my oldest son had a few friends over the house this weekend, and two things I tell them is no flips, because I don't want nobody to turn no flips and
Right.
Mm-hmm.
potentially hit their head on the side of the pool. The other thing is do not throw nobody in the pool that doesn't want to go in.
Yeah.
If they come there just to hang out, hey, let them hang out. If they just want to sit there with their feet in the water, then let them be. If they don't want to get in the water, do not throw them in the water, because that is something traumatic that it stays with people for years. And I have a lot of the women come and say that's what happened to them at Alice Keep, at Magnolia, or wherever. Somebody thought it was either funny, or somebody for some odd reason years ago in swimming lessons they thought that's the way to get over your fear of water. So a lot of the adults, I'm having to correct that fear and work them through that. I call it water trauma is what I call it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but that's one of the worst things you can do. That's why, like I said, I don't allow the kids to do that, and I hope people are not still doing that these days, as far
But
as swim
Raymond,
instructors doing it.
you know that's what they do in the military. You
I
don't
don't have a
sink or
response
swim.
for that.
She,
I
she,
don't. I don't have a response to that. And you say that I had a young man come to me. He was going to the Navy. He had just graduated this year. He was going to the Navy. I don't think he could swim at all when he came to me. Uh, but he told me, he contacted me. So he came, we swam, he did good, and he had to learn how to do a particular float. And so I allowed him to come on Sundays. He would come with his girlfriend, and they would work on it. And I guess he got it to the point where he was satisfactory because I hadn't seen him in a while. I don't know if he's already gone in or what. But that's what I would encourage parents. If you have a child, I've had a couple of people do that over the years. Hey, my child's going to the military and they can't swim.
Hmm.
I tell them, hey, get with me, and we'll get them, try to get them up to speed. But yeah, I can't do nothing about that. If that's what they do in the military, then my
Yeah.
response is, hey, before you go in the military, come see me or come see somebody.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's traumatizing. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of us that cannot swim, and we need to know how to swim.
we need to. Yeah, they need to know how.
Yeah.
Right.
You heard what I said. They.
Well, mom, look, whenever I go to Raymond, you coming with me.
She don't. She ain't playing with me. She already know I ain't coming. I'll go with you, but I'm going to sit on the bank. Sit on the bank.
Okay. I'll tell you what, you do that. If you come and you just sit and watch, that way you can see how I do things, the techniques, whatever else. Just that's fine. I'll take that as a win if you'll come do that
All
one
right.
day.
All right. We okay.
Whew. I'm gonna take a Xanax before I get in that pool, Raymond.
Look, I've had people. I've had a
Go
young
ahead.
lady 2 or 3 years ago. She was sitting in the car in front of the house on the phone with her mom, crying. She was that scared and nervous. And I was looking at my wife like she's late. And I didn't know she was in the front of the house. So I went around and yes, she was in the house front crying. And now I've talked. She learned how to swim that day. She came back and she's actually. I think she told me she's involved with a water aerobics class now. And just to say that she was terrified to where she is now, that's what I say. It's possible. You can do it. You just have to be. You just have to want to do it. So
Under. Yeah. So how's your clientele?
it is. I'll just say I never thought. I never knew. I mean, kids don't know how to swim. I mean, it's natural when they come to this earth, they don't know how to swim until they learn. I didn't know it was this many adults that that don't know how to swim. I didn't know that prior to me doing this, and that's why the kids I do from May. By mid-May is warm enough to start swimming in the water till right up to school starts. But that's why I start the adults at the same time, but I go all the way to the September end of September with adults because it's still people that are calling me day to day, want to come and it's. I just never thought it would be like it is as far as this. I never thought I would be where I'm at as far as teaching swimming lessons. Like I said, this just started because I had a friend ask me would I teach their child how to swim.
That's a blessing to be so busy
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
I'm
helping
not
people too.
At one
I'm not complaining.
at one point, didn't someone try to stop you from doing this?
Yes, ma'am. I still don't know who, because they were allowed to turn in a complaint anonymously.
Mm-hmm.
They filed a complaint with the city. This was last summer
Mm-hmm.
in June, right when I first started last year.
Mm-hmm.
They would complain. They turned in a complaint about parking. They were saying people loud noise and speeding. I'll stop right there to say that on the first day of class with the kids, I tell parents, hey, watch your speeding in and out the neighborhood, respect the neighborhood. Park with the flow of traffic. So if you're parking on that side, park with the direction that your car is supposed to
Right.
be going. I say,
Right.
don't block anybody's driveway. Watch your music in and out the neighborhood. And I really hadn't had no plans. So I think all that was just false complaints. I think it was just somebody uh, not wanting me to do it for whatever reason. But yes, so the city started calling me, and the lady, she was just doing her job. Somebody filed a complaint, so I wasn't mad with her, but I guess I was mad with her. But she was just doing her job. They sent me letters out and told me I had to stop. I had 14 days to stop doing swimming lessons. This was in June,
You had
and
stopped
so
for
basically,
14 days.
Huh? No, I
Yeah.
had to stop. I had 14 days to cease and desist, basically what it was.
Okay.
And so I told them politely, I said, well, ma'am, I said, you're just doing your job. I said, will you tell whoever anything short of putting me in handcuffs, I'm not going to stop doing swimming lessons. I say, because I'm doing a service to this community,
Mhm.
um, and I'm not going to stop. Give me a legitimate reason why I had to stop, you know. But I had to go to this year. So I went through the whole summer. They sent letters all the time. You know, nobody ever came, but I continue to get letters, and I think about a few phone calls about stopping or whatever. So I
Mhm.
went through the whole summer of 2022, never stopped. Well, I knew that going into this year, I didn't even want to have to deal with that. So that's when I got with the city. Started. I had to get what's called a special use permit. Had to pay $250 to be able to do swimming lessons at my residence, which my only problem is that there's several other people in Beaumont that do swimming lessons at their residence, but they don't have to do that.
I have to do
So
it.
I'll let you figure that out. But so I had to do this. I sat and go ahead to sit in front of the planning division. There's a video on my Facebook page where I had to make a speech. You know, they gave me 3 minutes to talk, and I kind of went over what I'm doing, the service, and all the different parameters, the parking. They had pictures of my house, they had pictures of the pool, and this kind of stuff. They gave me permission to do it. They passed. They voted. I think it was like 8 of them. They voted, and then they brought it in front of the city council, and the city council voted unanimously to pass it as well. So now I have what's called a special use permit to do swimming lessons at my residence, and hadn't had any issues since. But yeah, somebody anonymously, and like I said, I didn't. It wasn't that I wanted to know who filed a complaint. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't somebody that was smiling in my face that I
Yeah.
thought was a friend
Right. Right.
that's whatever, and they don't want to file a complaint. But so it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. They won't tell me who did it. So I've kind of moved
Nine,
on and
Move
not
on.
worried about it. Just
Yeah.
unfortunately, Raymond, 9 times out of 10, it's probably is someone that's smiling in your face.
Mhm.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, all they did, and that was kind of what I said. This all they did was light a fire under me,
Hmm.
and I try to maximize my time and teach as many people as
That's
possible.
good.
And that's where they lit the fire about this swim team. So that's a whole nother subject on its own. But
Clients probably
I'm
since then.
excited y'all do that.
It probably increased since then.
what you said, Miss Jones?
I said your clientele probably increased since then.
That's all they did was I had to go through them small process where somebody meant for bad turned to good.
Yeah.
What happened was, so after the city council picked it up, the Beaumont Enterprise ran an article on it.
Mhm.
So when the Beaumont Enterprise ran an article on it, then Channel 6 News came and the young lady came to the interview on it. So if you had the opportunity, it's at the top of my Facebook page, that news article, whatever, and it took off from there. And I mean, like I said, so what somebody meant for bad is
Yeah.
turned to good. And like I said, it's just I'm excited about this next venture with the swim team because I tell you all the time, every child is not going to be excellent in football or basketball, stuff like that. We don't know where our next Olympic swimmers may come from. You
Right.
know,
Right.
Right.
we have a lot of kids, a lot of potential here. Um, they may not be tall enough for basketball. They may not be fast enough or strong enough for football. But hey, they make great swimmers. You'd be surprised how many of these kids are really talented in the water. So that's where I say, you know what, we're gonna do this because I've had parents inquire about that. Hey, do you have swim team? And
Mhm.
last couple of years has been no, but now we're in the process of working to get that together. It's a lot of hurdles I still have to overcome with that, but we're in the process trying to have it ready to go. Trying to hopefully have the registration and stuff out by March of next year. And the first year we'll just be competing, hopefully, in the area swim league here in Beaumont.
That's great. That's amazing.
So let me say with these. Let's just hear what everyone has to say before we shut it down.
Go
Uh,
ahead.
Latoya, if you learn how to share, if you learn Latoya, if you try, he'll try it.
If Raymond can teach me how to swim, he can teach anybody because I really have a fear.
Uh,
Like,
that's
I,
what I just told him about myself. I can't
whew,
put my head in the water. I can't do all that. I'm not doing it. I guess maybe you never say never. So
I've had so many people say that same line. If
yeah.
they can teach me how to swim, they can teach anybody.
Uh-huh. Terry said they threw his son when he went to the Navy in the water.
Yep, that's
Deborah,
what they do in the
Deborah
Navy.
said, great, great. That was my next question. Schedule for kids. And so
Okay.
yeah, uh,
Going back, hold on, just say, going
yeah,
back to what Terry said, I never understood why somebody would go to the Navy that can't swim. That
oh,
was the first thing on that.
okay.
But hey, I wanted to go to the Navy coming out of high school, but I got turned down for acting. But that's a long another story for another day. But as far as the swim lesson schedule, I'm gonna give everybody a tip that's on here for tonight. If you're trying to get your child into my program for next summer, I don't take any name between now and then. I'm kind of resting. Besides doing adults, I'm kind of resting because swimming does. I'm out in the heat all day, every day. It does take a lot of energy out of you. But if you listen to this, January 2nd is when you can message me, call me, text me. That's when I start my list for next summer for the names of the kids. And I generally only have about 130 spots. So I take those names, you can message me, and all I do is put your child's name on that list for next summer in the order that you contacted me in. When I start making a schedule, probably in March or April, then I'll contact the parent and let them decide their weeks that they want. But January 2nd is the day that I start taking names.
How much are the kids?
It's going well. This year was $100. We'll see by next year. At the most, it might be 110, but it's been $100.
Okay, so when you get older, as you get older, you generally go back to adolescence. So the 70-year-old kid, I'm just
I
asking.
have this year I have been given the all teachers, anybody that works for BISD and PAISD, I have been giving them a $25 discount, so their price has been 100 for adults. Normally it's 125. Yeah, I was did do that for the adults,
And the Lord
but
is good.
huh?
And the Lord is good.
Yes, ma'am, he is.
And because I'm educated. Okay, so Melissa says, I would love to take classes to freshen up my skills. And
I
Sean,
had
go ahead.
I had a lady come yesterday. She already knew how to swim, but she wanted to fine tune it.
Hmm.
And that's what we did. Fine tune it, taught her how to tread. She fine tuned the diving, cliff jumping. That's perfect normal. That's just a 1 day thing. If she already knows how to swim, then yes.
Okay, and Shauna says her fear is the water. So those are the clock on the wall says we have to go, but I want you before we get off the wall. Before we get off, can you tell everyone a little bit about your fee again? How much you charge the children? How much you charge the adults? What's the time of the lessons? And how old do you take them?
Okay, starting with the kids, the age group is from 3 all the way up to really about 16. Because if they're 16 and up, if they're going with a parent, then I'll put them in an adult class. But generally, it's about 3 to 16 years old for the kids' classes. Their price this year was $100. Those class days are Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for 2 weeks. Is what you get. Those are 50-minute sessions for the kids. I think I touched on everything with the kids. Adults, I do the adults Fridays, Saturdays, 9 a.m. or 2 p.m. And Sundays, I do at 2 p.m. I'm going with adults all the way to September 30th or September 31st, the last Sunday of September. I'm done with the kids for this year, but I still are doing adult lessons at this point. I'm encouraging anybody. You scroll down my Facebook page. That's the only social media I'm on. You'll see a bunch of different testimonials, a bunch of different videos, people learning to swim. Um, it's never too late. I love it. I tell people all the time, respect the water, but I want people to enjoy the water. The water can take a life. Um, it's kind of why I got into it, and hopefully everything goes well with this swim team. I'm really excited about it. A lot of people in the city of Beaumont are behind me. Now I just got to get I put it out there. I got to get the city of Beaumont, actually, if you know what I mean, like the people that employ the different departments of the city
Mhm.
to be on board. That's kind of my biggest hurdle. That and the BISD pool right now is my biggest hurdle is getting this off the ground. But hopefully I
I
answered
have
all your questions. What does she got?
I have a question. So the BISD pool, we can't do what is it called? What is the word I'm looking for? When you get the signatures, because we are taxpayers.
That is correct. But what it is, and I don't know how much time you have, Miss Jones, but I'm good on time. But what it is that BISD charges. There's two other swim teams that I know of that use probably more. They charge $275 per week for access to that pool for the team. So if I had a group of kids, we were swimming Monday through Friday in the evening times, it would be $275 a week. Well, I can't afford that cost myself. So that cost will be offset to the parents. And I kind of feel the same way. Like most of these kids go to school in this district, and we're still having to pay that high of a fee. I mean, there's not even no kind of discount. But that when I called a couple weeks ago, I was told $275 per week.
Wow,
So
that's a lot.
the city of Beaumont hadn't given me a price yet because they actually told me that they don't rent the pool out, but we're working on some avenues with that. And I'll speak frankly on this. I really don't want to use BISD except for a last resort. I prefer to use Alice Keep and Magnolia. My reason why those pools are in the neighborhoods. That is what I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to reach the kids in the neighborhoods.
Right.
Everybody can't get over out on I-10 to the auditorium 3 to 4 days a week to practice. But
Right.
if I can do practice at Magnolia on Monday and Wednesday and do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Alice Keith, and I'm right there in those neighborhoods, pulling those kids out the neighborhoods to swim and to compete. That's what I want to do. That's my preferable choice is to do it right there in the neighborhoods. But if that does, if the city of Beaumont, quote unquote, city of Beaumont doesn't approve and allow me to do that, then I will be forced to have to use the BISD pool.
Right. Right. And Cheryl Jackson says, I'm coming to take your class soon.
Yep, she's supposed to be coming. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so you know a lot of people that's supposed to be coming that haven't even registered yet, right?
Oh, I don't know. I have a lot of people. I have names that's all the way into September. That's already on the books. They have to make it around their schedule and their plans,
So in the
and
wintertime,
so
you
that
don't teach lessons. I mean, because it's too cold. If you,
yeah, yeah.
unless you have a, that's when you go to the BISD pools, right?
Well, I don't do anything. Everything is at my house. So once the water cools down, and as warm as it been, I probably actually be able to do lessons until October. But
Mm-hmm.
once it cools down, then I shut it down for the year.
Yeah.
Because if I go to BISD to do it, then I got to pay fees and all this. You're gonna have to pay a higher cost. I have everything I need in my house. Only thing in my pool is outside. That's the only thing.
Right. 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 I appreciate you coming to Blue Table Talk tonight and accepting the invitation to it. I know there are a lot of people out there that wants to take swimming lesson for themselves as well as their children. And don't forget, guys, this is swimming like a fish.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
it's Mr. Ford. So if you his phone number is going across the screen. So if you want to contact him, please contact him, and he can give you all the information that you need. If he doesn't answer, I'm sure he has an answer machine that you can leave the message on,
Yes, ma'am.
and he would politely call you back. So, Mr. Ford, I appreciate you coming out here. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation, and God bless you, your mom, and the rest
Thank you.
of the family. Continue to stay blessed and keep us swimming because we need this because we are right now we're in the hurricane season. This is hurricane
Yes,
season
ma'am.
until November, so you never know.
Yes, ma'am.
But remember, I'm gonna pass by your house. I'm gonna wave at you.
Come sit. Look, I'm gonna invite you just to come sit one Friday or Saturday. Just come sit and watch.
When Toria come, I'm coming.
You ain't gotta wait on her.
I gotta wait for
Ain't
Toria.
she? Ain't she out of town?
Yes, but I'm coming in tomorrow, so I come to Texas a lot, Raymond.
She comes to take.
Okay. 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 Well, y'all just let me know when.
Okay.
All right, all right.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with y'all tonight. And maybe we can do this sometime leading to the summer next year.
Yeah, and
Okay.
maybe I could come do this live at your house while you
You
teach.
sure can.
Is that fine? Okay, we can do that. Thank you guys for coming for joining me tonight. As you guys always support me on Blue Table Talk. God bless you and God keep you is my prayer. Stay safe and don't forget about that virus is out again. So wear your mask and wash your hands and keep your distance. And because right now it's sneaking up on you instead of you knowing what like you have a headache or whatever, you're not having that anymore. So take care of yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself, you got to take care of the person that's next to you. All right. Love you guys. Smooches. Stay on for a minute, Mr. Ford.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you guys. Bye. Good night.